Hi, how are you? I became a grandma 5 days ago, and these past 5 days have been full of all kinds of feelings of joy and worry, and some unexplainable things. If you have to go over your own childhood and how your mother was with you when you have your own children, it's surprising that it happens again now when I'm a grandma. And of course, there are some things to complicate this matter because she's not biologically my daughter. She's my husband's daughter, and she had joined our lives when she was adult. Not, of course, my husband's. He raised her, but to my life and to my children's life. So we are this kind of I would call it joint family. But it's a different thing on how you behave and how you see your spouse's child that you have met when she was adult, and how you behave and how you see the children that you brought up. And there is a slight difference, of course, but it's mainly to that how do I approach her. And because for my own children that I have raised, I can just tell them how things are, and we can communicate very directly. So if I'm bossing too much, they just say that, okay, this is enough, Mom, I love you, but please try to hold your horses. But when you meet somebody as adult, then the relationship is different. So at one point, I am a grandma and a mother, and on the other hand, I'm Dad's wife. So that makes it a little bit more challenging. But it was a surprise to me how the feelings are still very strong, and I don't think basically maybe the same when my own children have children, but there are a lot of things. Of course, when I first heard, I know that before she was expecting, we talked about whether it's a right thing for her or to have children in the first place, or should she just focus on her career and other things. And of course, there are a few things to consider. Do you want children in the first place? Do you have the urge to be a mom? And then there is the other thing that when you have children with somebody, then you are bound to them for the rest of your life, one way or the other, or at least when your children are adults. After that, all your life, that's safe to say. And it's always a little bit of gambling, because before people have children, they are in the between 20 and 30, for example. They are very positive and flexible and nice and energetic and optimistic. And when they have children, then the real colors come shining through. If there are difficulties, then the difficulties just amount. And if the relationship holds up already. And that's something that I'm afraid of for all of my children, of course. But in this case, it's only worry in my head. And of course, when we talked about it a year or 2 years ago, the situation was different. The father of this baby is a remarkable young man, very nice in every way, and tries very hard to do his part as a dad. And that's all that we can expect. But from skipping from that, first we were talking whether she is going to have a children or not, or what do we think and what she thinks, and then suddenly she just said that, okay, I'm expecting now, I'm pregnant, and of course it was okay, this is the right age, this is the right time, and it's here now. There is no second guessing, and the leaf has turned, and we are expecting a baby to our family. And of course, I was very happy then, like in that instance, because the alternative that she would have wanted children but not have one would have been devastating. But she had made her mind up and was having a baby, and my husband was of course over the moon about it, but we were very happy. And the pregnancy went along, and there was some like major hiccups that were nothing, which is some kind of absurd, because there are now tests that are made for the mom, and the baby is screened like 7 times, and then they found something. There was some abnormality in something, not to be too specific, but first the nurse was screening it, and then she has said that okay, there is this and this abnormality, and you may discuss it with the doctor. Well, of course, we have the internet now. It was seconds until we knew that what were the risks and what could this mean before she had a doctor's appointment, and it take more than a week in between, and it was really hard time, because then you have to think about what if something is wrong, then what is she going to do then? And now we are talking about really, really serious illnesses. But when she finally got to the doctor and got the blood work, they just said, okay, it was false alarm, nothing is wrong actually. Or if there is something wrong, it's a teeny tiny possibility. That is not a possibility at all. And then it was really hard to be kind of optimistic and happy again. I think that these kind of things are very like irresponsible. You shouldn't tell something like that to expecting mom and ask her to hold on a week or two. It's not fair, especially when I think that even 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when I was expecting my youngest daughter, there wasn't even that kind of screenings. So I would have been pregnant the whole 9 months and knowing nothing. And not to talk about 20, 30, 50 years ago. So this is something that is like typical for the science now, that these possible mistakes and probable mistakes are looked after like really thoroughly. And they people are scared, and then it might be just nothing. But of course, it went by, and we were all really, really relieved. And then came the time to actually have the baby. Actually, this was actually the reason why our eldest daughter, or my husband's daughter, was not with us in Italy, because she was so far along that it would have been inconvenient to travel and be in a hot climate. But that's just a side note. But then came the time to give birth, and it didn't go very easily. So we had to like be on our toes for 2 or 3 days before he finally was born. But everything is now really well. Everything is now really well. He's a happy, adorable baby boy. And we have been to see her, like I think 3 times now, and it's really full of mixed feelings. Or this kind of, or not even mixed feelings. All the feelings are positive, or if you consider worry positive feeling. But I realized that I haven't been sleeping well. Usually I fall asleep like a log, like ting, and I'm out, and then my problem is that I wake up too early. But now I haven't been able to fall asleep at night. So I've been up like 2 hours just lying on my bed and watching to the ceiling or trying to get to sleep. And the only reasonable explanation I can get to that having this baby in a family and having hold him and worry about him and seeing him has brought some kind of a instincts in my to surface and in my head. And the one thing that happens to you when you have a baby is that you are alert all the time. Your senses get heightened and you don't sleep like a log anymore. You are half awake all the time. And since my own kids are so old, it has been like years and years when I finally got over the alert feeling that I had all the time. And now it's back. Of course, it's this kind of a misfeeling because he's not on like my responsibility. I'm not his mother. So it's a mixed feeling, but it's something of an instinct that comes and I can do nothing about. But it's funny to notice that if there are any grandmothers and fathers, have you noticed the same kind of a instinct coming to the surface? And of course, as I told you, the visit to the hospital, it brought up and having this baby on my arms, it brought up a lot of memories and a lot of feelings, not even like distinct memories, but feelings of my firstborn, of my son. And how did I feel then, and the anxiety and sorrow that was brought into my life at the same time. That kind of comes back, and it's weird. And when I had my son and then my daughter, and they got a little bit older, I was like I really had to go through my own childhood, about my own relationship with my mother primarily, but partly of course to my father too. And now that I see him, my grandchild, I think that I'm going through, or I'm starting to go through the time that my children were small, about what kind of mother I was and what kind of grandmother I am now to this little creature. So there are some feelings of sorrow. And because when my children were small, there were times that were really tough. They weren't sleeping well and they weren't sleeping at the same time. So I was more or less very exhausted the whole time. So that comes to mind. And of course, seeing her now, the new mother and a father, like being very tired. Of course, the new mom goes with the hormones. It's only 5 days. She has barely slept. But she goes with the hormones, but the new dad doesn't have the hormones to help the thing. And he's exhausted. So of course we said that if this like goes too far, then come to our house and the new mom can sleep in the next door and we take care of the baby for a night so that she can get rest and he can also like sleep at home and get rest. But we'll see what happens if they'll come here. And of course, there are lots of questions of how to do these practical things and changing the nappies and how to hold the baby in the different situations and that kind of things that for some people they come naturally and for some people they have to be learned and we cannot like choose that which group of people we are. And of course, handling my children that were half of the size of this new baby, they were very fragile. Of course, he is fragile also, but not in the same way that a baby that weighs 2 kilograms. But that I have been like able to like slowly and every here and there tell them and think that you can try it this way and you can try it that way. But that's the hard part. That's the emotional part, and that is the hard part. It's not my baby. That's clear and that's sure. But I still feel I really feel pain when I hear him cry, and of course I would want to ensure that everything is perfect for him, and he's comfortable all the time, and has the right kind of nappies and has the right kind of clothes and enough on him all the time and that kind of things. But at the same time, I have to remember that I cannot bug in too much. That there is like this kind of a very, very thin line where I'm overly controlling when I'm bugging too much and not caring. Situation that I would give an impression that I do not care is the one that I have to be mindful as much as not butting in too much. And of course there is a difference because he is my husband's daughter and I have not raised her. It's like I said that my kids will say, "Ma, please." Yeah, we know. And they won't be offended and they can just blur it out like this. So it's a balance. And then I, of course, consider that for my children, the biological grandmothers were not helpful at all. And they were barely present, ever. And my mother is not a very good grandmother, to say the least. And with this baby boy, biological grandmothers have their own issues, and therefore they might not be able to be around and be as helpful as they would want to be. It's a difficult thing, so that leaves me, the dad's wife, the acting grandma. The feeling that I don't have is actually getting old. That I was wondered or baffled because I was in a subway going to downtown and there was this awfully talkative lady that sat next to me and she started to talk and that, "Where are you going and what are you doing?" and "I'm doing this and that and this and that." And then I just said that I'm just going to run some errands for the new baby. And she looked at me and said, "You don't look like a grandma." And of course I didn't start to explain it, that it's actually my husband's daughter and not biologically mine. We are the same age, so she could be biologically mine as well. But the fact that she said that I don't look like a grandma, and I never thought of that. That didn't cross my mind. That am I old enough to be a grandmother, like plausible grandmother, or what should I look like, or am I suddenly 20 years older and stiff and everything when I'm grandmother, not biologically, but I could be as well as my husband is. But that's something that I don't. I know that many people have this age crisis as soon as they become grandmas, and they feel old and they have to be doing something different so they don't feel old. And some even say that they shouldn't be called a grandma because they don't like it. But I don't know. It's my emphasis in life may be different because I don't love children in general. This was something that the new mom asked of me before the baby boy was born. He just said that do you think it's possible that you can be a good mom even if you don't like all the children? I said that, yeah, it is very possible. I don't like the neighbors' children, and I don't like all children in general, but I love mine. And of course, I find myself now loving this newborn baby because he's sort of mine, but with the longer explanations. And she was somewhat relieved, like, oh. So in her head, she thought that, can she be a good mom if she doesn't love all the children? But I have always thought that children are people too. So they are individuals. There are not that kind of model that this is a prototype of a child and everybody should love them because they are just tiny and cute. Well, children are not cute, or even not cute. The appearance is just a small thing. But some kids are nice, and then there are a few that are not so nice. And I don't like them being kids or adults or whatever. It's just a question of personality. So if I try to sum up what I have found these past 5 days, is the most important thing as a grandparent, even being just a dad's wife, is to help when they ask, show them if they clearly don't know, and want to learn, and foremost, like, help them, or for me it's possible only to help the mom to find his own instincts and own way to be a mom, and to really, like, count on that, like, be comfortable and confident that you are the mom, and your like maternal instincts will tell you what to do, and just be comfortable with that and try to relax and just do what naturally comes, because there are so much information now. For example, we talked about nursing, and she was very worried, obviously, is there enough milk or too much, and what's going to happen and what she has to do, and I tried to just calm her down and tell that it will come naturally, that the baby will have the milk that it gets, and because he is a strong baby, he just will demand more, and then there will be more, because there is no obvious problem with that. So it's easier if you can relax and just count on that nature takes care of this, that this is the way that babies have been fed, like, as long as people have existed, and they are just fine. And of course, if there will be some problem, then there is a bottled milk that is very good quality, and it can be given to the baby, but it doesn't require any extra work. It doesn't require any additional gadget that usually is available to everything. But if you stress and if you are overly anxious, then that might be just a problem. And like I told her that when me and my husband were babies, then all the midwives and nurses say that babies can be fed only once in 3 hours, and then they had to lie in their crib. And if they cry, they just have to be left on a crib, and it will strengthen their lungs. And it was horrible. It would have been horrible. No normal mom would leave their kids just to cry for the lungs' sake. And when my son and my daughter were babies, then there was this school of baby leading nursing. So there was just that every time that baby cries, then you have to nurse him or her throughout the day, like 24 hours a day. So if you want to be on your lap and on the breast all the time, then let him be. And that was also that, okay, that's not going to work. I have to sleep and I have to go to shower, and it's not very healthy if you think about baby's gut. If there is milk coming like 24 hours a day, it's okay. And now these nurses said to her that, because she said that the baby wants to be there like over half an hour, and they said, no, that's not good. It's 15 minutes and then it's cut, and if the stomach is not full, then give the bottle. And that's again totally different different kind of like truth. And these all were explained to be the only possible truth and alternative when all these times. So there is no sense in that. So just to encourage that try to relax, take it easy, and do what your instincts tell you to do when the baby is crying. He doesn't like die if he's crying. He doesn't suffer if he's nursing all the time or over half an hour. It doesn't do him any bad. Then he sleeps, and then everything is fine again. That there are no certain rules. Of course, there are these certain rules that don't leave a baby alone or don't put him on the table and everything like that. It's kind of security things. But in a nursing and in taking care, there are really, really few rules that you have to follow. But it's very stressful for young people that expect that there is like the new father said that he was furious because they were giving like mixed directions, like what to do, and this was that because there are none. You just have to find your own way and do how you do it. It's not exact science. Babies are different kind. They have different personalities. Somebody wants to like sleep more and somebody sleeps less. The only thing in the end that we can do as a grandparents is try to add their confidence of being mom and being dad in their own way. And I think that's the one thing that I would have wanted from my mother and from my children's other grandmother, but I didn't get. I didn't get the help either, but I didn't get even the emotional support. And that's the thing that we do now, or we try. It's been only 5 days. I expect my feelings to come and go like thousands of times for the next 5 days. And then I know better how to be a grandma. I hope you have a great day. Please comment down below how you are a grandmother or grandfather and what do you think about it. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.